Cory Booker recently came out in favor of the Green New Deal. Let's take a look at this video and see if he actually means that.
I believe that bold leaders point to the moon and say we are going to change that from a dream to a destination. And this generation, what it's calling for, bold leaders, I don't care who you are, it's got to be a green American dream, a green dream. And so I'll be one of those bold leaders that say, hey, I believe in, I'm not going to attack reflexively the Green New Deal, I'm going to support it. This is just a resolution. It's not legislation yet. There are so many things that we can do that are bold and aggressive that we're not doing now because we're too busy arguing about it.
This guy reminds me of, like, whenever you go to, like, Thanksgiving or Easter with your family and you have that one guy who is a Patriots fan and you ask him, like, why do you support the Patriots? And they're just like, I don't know, because they're cool and they're hip and they win a lot. And you're like, yeah, you don't actually support the Patriots. You're just a bandwagon. Cory Booker, this guy is that in a nutshell. When it comes to policies, he does not support any progressive ideas until he has to. That is Cory Booker to a T. This guy does not support universal health care. He does not support a living wage. He does not support free public colleges and universities. He is not a progressive. He is not on your side. I just want you to notice real quick. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, some old people in that crowd. Kind of says a lot about the demographics of the people who are going to vote for Cory Booker in the primaries. Like, no one knows who Cory Booker is because all he does is he fights for social justice and he passed some bill with Donald Trump that advocates for prison reform or whatever that basically did nothing. This guy is a joke. Don't vote for him. He does not actually support the Green New Deal. Now, keep in mind, like when it came to the Keystone XL pipeline, he did come out against that. And when it comes to energy, he might, maybe, possibly be in favor of the Green New Deal. But understand this. It's so hard to trust someone that is so not progressive, and they're all of a sudden coming out and saying, yeah, I'm progressive, bro. I'm in this new thing. And you're like, no, you're not. You never were. Like, where were you over the last year? You could have been with Bernie Sanders and AOC and all of those rallies advocating for the Green New Deal. Where were you? Where were you? Oh, yeah, because you didn't want to advocate for that until you realized how popular it was. The Green New Deal, guys, has over 67% support amongst Republicans and over 80% support amongst Americans. It is overwhelmingly popular amongst Americans. And so the reason why Cory Booker is advocating for the Green New Deal is simply because he wants to join the bandwagon. Let me tell you guys how corrupt Cory Booker is if you're not familiar. This guy voted against Bernie Sanders' bill that would purchase pharmaceutical drugs from Canada. That's half the price. So let me give you guys clear details about this bill, and let me tell you where Cory Booker positioned himself in this bill. So Bernie Sanders suggested, hey, listen, we have Canada over next door, right? And their drug prices are half the price. They import their drugs from the U.S. So these drugs are FDA approved already, and they're just shipped over to Canada, sold at half the price. So if you go to Canada, you can purchase these drugs for half the price. So why don't we, instead of selling the drugs in America, why don't we go over to Canada, purchase the drugs, and resell them here? And it was like a brilliant idea. It's like, yeah, it's essentially a way of getting around the negotiating of drugs. It's like the Democrats and the Republicans, the establishment Democrats and the Republicans, they all do not want to support the HHS, yes, Human and Health Services Department, institution of the government, negotiating drug prices for Medicare and Medicaid. And so Bernie Sanders was like, okay, well, if you don't want to negotiate, then why don't we just let Canada negotiate for us and then, take their drugs? It's half the price. Free market, right? Free market. It's free market. And then basically Cory Booker voted against it. It almost passed. Cory Booker votes against it. And they were like, okay, why do you vote against this? And he's like, well, the drugs aren't FDA approved. And then Bernie Sanders had to go, yes, they are. They were literally imported from the US. They're the same drugs. They're just imported to Canada and then exported back to us at half the price. We could do that. And his reason was, well, they're not FDA approved. And then like a few months later, he's like, but I support universal health care. Like, please, come on, dude. This guy is such a fraud. Do not vote for him in the primaries. Do not vote for him in the primaries. Vote for Bernie Sanders.